Hey everybody, welcome to Code with Bo. My name is Alec Bo. This is going to be the first video in our Python series. What we're going to be going over in this series is introducing you into the tools and concepts that you need to start this path as a software developer, a web developer, really whatever application you want to use your skills for. The first step though is what we're going to cover in this video, and that is simply getting Python installed on your system, getting familiar with the environment that you're going to be writing Python code in, and we're going to get you introduced to a little bit of the Python syntax, but nothing too complex, nothing too overwhelming, and nothing too crazy. But yeah, so I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our Python coding journey. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our web browser. I'm in Chrome because I like Chrome, but to each their own. Did not mean to make that rhyme, but I'm a poet and didn't even know it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go over down to python.org. And once we're there, we're going to click on downloads. And you'll see right here, the first option is going to be to download the latest version from Mac OS X. If you are running Mac, a Mac operating system, go ahead and get started with that download. If you have a different operating system, there's going to be instructions for you right over here. I already have Python downloaded and it's the latest version, so I will not be doing this. All you got to do is click the button, go through the installation process, then you'll be good to go. So go ahead and get started with that. Pause the video, and then once everything's completed, go ahead and come back. Alright guys, so I'm assuming that y'all completed the Python installation process, and one of the things that should have come in the Python installation package is going to be this little guy right here called idle. So you're going to want to go ahead and open that up. And what idle is idle is a integrated developer environment. This is where you can write code, right? You can write code, save it in files for later, come back and work on it. This is what we're going to be using a lot in the beginning, and I'll show you some other cool things you can do later on. But so this first screen that comes up right here is just a Python execution screen, right? So you can execute single lines of Python code right here, like you can do, this isn't Python code, but you can do 2 plus 2, and that's going to show you 4, so just for quick execution. But this is going to be where we write our first program, all right? And so what we're going to do is something that all developers do for their first program. It's a kind of like a coming of age, like a welcome to the new world. We're going to print hello world. Alright, so before we go ahead and execute this code, let's go ahead and say everything that's going on here. So print, right? So print is a built-in function that comes with Python. Okay, so there's some other functions that you'll use later on that come from different libraries. We'll have to import those libraries. We'll go through different processes with them. But don't worry about that now. Just have it in the back of your mind. All you need to know here is that with functions that are built into Python, you don't have to do any sort of special magic or anything like that. And then so print, what you do, right, is you have these two parentheses, right? And then, every function is going to have two parentheses after the name of them. And in between the parentheses, you put your function arguments. And so the function argument right here is simply a string. A string is a data type called, and the string just says hello world. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to print that. And boom, congrats, it worked. Now you're ready to quit your job, start your new life, your new career as a software developer, and say hello to that six-figure salary. Just kidding. None of that is going to happen yet, but it will if you continue to practice every day. But before we get to that, what we're going to do is we're going to break down some of the things that I just talked about. So you might have heard me say a string, Alec. No, those are words. That's a sentence. I don't see any yarn around here. Well, what I have to tell you is a string is actually a sequence of characters. All right, now you're probably saying, Alec, a sequence of characters. What's going on? I don't know what you're talking about here. And don't worry about it. I'll break it down for you. So a character could be this little H right there. That's one character. Next to the H, you got the E. That's a second character. Then you got the L, L, O, comma, space. Even the space is a character. And the rest of it all arranged together And so you have characters, these individual characters, and yes, you have them in a sequence. Therefore, if you have a sequence of characters, you have a string. And string is one of the data types that we're going to be working with. And so there's other data types too. There is a integer, which is just this nice little whole number. Like, look at that number. Look at that 1. That's nice, solid, never going to cause us any problems. You have floats. You got 2.0 right there. So that is what's called a float. We're not going to worry about too much about those right now. We'll worry about them in the next video. Just go ahead and keep that in mind. That that is a float is another data type. We have the character, which is just an individual character like that, and then we have the string of characters, which is a string of characters. All right. And so something that you can do with these data types is you can store them in variables. And so you're probably thinking now, like, Alec, oh my God, man, we're moving so fast, I don't even know what to do. And just hold your horses, just take a deep breath. We're going to break it down for you. And so let's declare our first variable. We'll just call it first variable. And we're going to set it equal to an integer. Boom. So now let's print first variable. First variable is equal to 1. Would you look at that? Now we're going to print second variable. And we're going to put hello world. And so that first little program that we wrote, that first print hello world, we're actually going to store that whole string in this variable, second variable. And you know, second variable probably wasn't the most attractive variable name I could have used, but we're just showing this for demonstration purposes right now. So instead of having to print hello world every time, instead of writing that every single time, now I can just say print a second variable, and I can do that as many times as I want, because since I declared it as a variable, I'm now able to reuse that code, and it makes my life a whole lot easier in the future. So also kind of have that concept in the back of your head early, the concept of code reuse to make my life easier. You always, we're going to go into some details about that later on, but just have that concept in your mind. Code reuse to make my life easier. So let's see what happens. And we're just going to be working, in this video, we're just going to be working with strings and with integers. So let's see what happens if I declare, I'm going to declare first num equals 1. That's an integer. I'm going to declare sec num equals 1. All right. And so before I get started, what is this? Right? If this is an integer, what is this? This can be either, you know, this is either a string or a single character, so you can even call it an array. But let's go ahead and, so you're saying, Alec, so what are we about to do here? What's going on? I'm going to tell you, we're going to add the two together. And boom, plot twist, M. Night Shyamalan style. We cannot do that. You cannot add two different data types together unless it was a float. But we're going to go into that later on. Like I said, I keep on bringing it up. I need to stop. Go ahead. Tell me to stop in the comments. But you can't add a string and an integer together, I should say. So, well, hold up. What if I need to do an operation with this right here? It's a number in there. What's the point of having a number in there if I can't do an operation? And let me show you something really cool right here. So Python has these built-in functions like print. It also has a built-in function called int. Again, I did not mean to make that rhyme. I might as well just stop making these videos and pursue a full-time rapping career, because I was also one of the best freestylers in my high school. Fun fact, if anyone from high school is watching this, I will still challenge you to that day on this. But so we're going to go ahead and we're going to say first num plus, I don't even know what I'm doing, plus int sec num. So kind of up here, how we passed hello world as an argument to the print function, we're going to pass sec num as an argument to the int function. And we get 2. And I bet your mind is just absolutely melted right now because I know mine is. How did this happen? If it was just telling me I can't do this, if I can't do this, I can't add an int in a string. How am I doing it? And it's because this integer function right here temporarily. Now let me put an emphasis on this. Temporarily converted second num to an integer. All right. And so you're like, well, what if I want to do it permanently? What if I don't? What if I like what's going on here? I need more, Alec. You're not giving me enough. And it's okay. You're asking. So let's say you did want to change the character stored in second num to an integer permanently. So we're gonna do what's called a variable redefinition. And we're gonna redefine second num to be equal to integer secnum. And so for now, this can be pretty confusing. You're like, hold up, are you setting a variable equal to a function, and inside that function is a argument of the variable you're trying to change? And long story short, yes, I am doing that. And I'm going to explain to you one day how that works. But for now, I don't want to hurt your brain. Just know that is how you do that. And I'll prove that it worked because I'll add first num and sec num together without doing the data type conversion. And would you look at that? Man, isn't coding awesome? And just so that's really all we're going to talk about today. I just want to get you used to a little bit of some of the things you can do. Declaring variables. I want to get you your first Hello World program going. Show you the print function. Show you how to convert data types. Before we go, I will show you. I only showed you how to convert to int. Let's say you wanted to convert secnum back to string. Well, guess what Python has, man? This is so awesome, isn't it? It has the exact same type of function, a data type conversion, except to convert an integer to a string. And so we're going to go ahead and do that. And wow, no error message. Let's double check it worked. So I'm going to add the two numbers again without doing any data type conversion. So if this code right here worked, then I should be adding an integer plus a string. And as you should know, you can't do that. And so what should happen is I should get this error message. And so let's see. And would you look at that? Oh my God, the conversion worked. But yeah, so that's going to be the end of this video. What I would do going forward is on your own play around in this little execution terminal right here. Practice declaring variables. We didn't go over floats or characters too much in this video. If you want to start getting your feet wet with those, by all means go on ahead. Yeah. If you have any questions or anything, any suggestions for content in the future, go ahead and put that in the comments. As always, go ahead, like, subscribe, rate the video. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you didn't like, too. I want to know what I can improve on. This is my first video, so they're obviously only going to get better from here, and I'm more than open to feedback. But thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to guiding you on your journey to become a full-fledged software developer.